trouble. And boy, I found her. She's in love with herself. Grey Wolf Studios.
What's up, guys? It's me, Grey Wolf, back with another video. And this video is going to be on tire balancing. Now, this is not going to be a how to balance your tire video, because there's 1,000 of those out there. This I probably should have picked a better wheel because this one's filthy. But this is one of my monster truck tires, and as you can see, it's pretty damn big. Not quite as big as the Losi 420 series, but it's pretty close. I mean, I have really big hands, and this thing is, it's big. Anyway, like I said, it's not quite as big as the Losi 420 series. I can't remember if this is a 40 series tire or not. It might be a 40 series. If it's not, it's pretty close. But at any rate, a while back, actually it's been quite a while back now at this point, I ordered a, a while back I saw all the, how to balance your tire videos and all that, and I was like, hey, that sounds like a really great idea. I want to start balancing my tires. So I ordered a Dynamite tire balancer. Well, the Dynamite I can't talk tonight. The Dynamite tire balancer is not cheap. It's about $40, I think, if I remember correctly, plus shipping. And I got it, and the one thing that I noticed right off the bat was part of the mounting system for it is a 17mm hex. So the only thing you can balance on that thing is a 17mm wheel. Well, that's fine if all you have is a buggy or something with a 17mm wheel, but I have all kinds of different size wheels. I have everything down to little foam touring car tires that are about this big, all the way up to the 40 series and the Losi 420s, and even stuff like this. Well, that tire's really dirty. Should have got a clean one, but oh well. This was handy, and it wasn't on a kit, so I didn't have to take it off. But at any rate, I want to be able to balance, and I have everything in between also. I have 12mm hexes, 14s, 17s, 20s, 23s, I have them all. So I looked around and researched for the longest time for a wheel balancing system that could accommodate any size tire. And essentially what I came up with was not a tire balancer at all. It was a prop balancer. Enter the Dubro prop balancer. I don't know if it has a specific name, but this is basically it. And it's kind of wobbly, actually, because I don't have the screws. There's nuts that go on the bottom of this. Oops. There's nuts that go on the bottom of this mount to securely hold these two things in place, but I just kind of wanted to show you because I don't use this. I don't use the bottom plate, and then it also comes with this piece right here. This is the piece that would actually it actually spins on these. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a couple of little discs here, and these things are like they must be on bearings or something, because they are just like silky smooth. They're so easy to turn, It's not even funny. But anyway, the Dubro prop balancer comes with that. Now the fuel tubing is actually something that I added to this to make it depending on what tire you're doing and how big it is, you'll have to add either more or less spacers. These are basically here as spacers. You'll have to add more or less spacers depending on what the size tire is that you're trying to balance. I have it set up currently to where I can work with this tire. I set it up in advance, so that's why it's got two different ones on there. But here's the thing. If you put the prop balancer together using the base that it comes with, it's not wide enough to do 420 or 40 series tires, or I don't think it's even wide enough. Yeah, see, it's not even really wide enough to do this tire. So I'm going to cut here for a second, and I'm going to set this thing up, and then I'll show you what my workaround for that. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're back. So before I get on to my setup that allows me to balance any size tire, I'm going to go over this rod here that holds your tires, and you can still use it for props and whatever else, but this piece right here, let's see if I can get a good shot. It essentially has there's a little piece of fuel tubing. Now this piece of fuel tubing actually comes with it, and it acts as a stop. So basically you just pull, and then there's a washer right here, and then a spring right here, and then you have your two cones, and then you have your spacers that you have to cut out a fuel line for yourself. And this little metal piece right here is actually, it's part of the unit that doesn't come off or anything. So essentially what you want to do is you want to pull all this stuff off right here, and then remove the first cone. And then what that allows you to do is actually come in with your tire, and let's see if I can, yeah, there. So now because of these cones, if I can get the video to hold still. Now because of these cones, you don't even need hexes for this thing, because essentially what's going to happen is we're going to slide this through here, and that cone is basically going to fit more or less into your hex spot there. And then on the other side, you're going to take your other cone and you're going to put it on, and it's essentially going to plug the hole on the other side, and that keeps it nice and tight, so it won't come off of there or anything. And then you'll want to add the spring back on first, and then the little washer. And I apologize for the poor camera angles, but I'm working with a mobile camera and I don't really have a place to set it up at a decent location. Anyway, and then you put the fishing line on there, and then you basically compress the spring as far as it'll go, and then it'll probably shoot back out a little bit, but at some point it'll grab and hold just like that. So now we have this thing threaded through here, and we're ready to balance this tire. Now let me show you in order to balance the big tires, like I said, you can't use this plate that it comes with. I don't even know why I keep it, because I don't need it. But at any rate, so what I ended up doing was, part of my hobby desk here actually has a steel, I have an old metal desk that I work with. It actually has a steel tray that slides in and out. And essentially what I've done is I've drilled a bunch of holes in it. Now I have the 4 holes here, and these are the ones that I mainly use, because this is pretty much the maximum distance apart that you can put these and still have the metal rod be able to rest on both sides of the little rollers here. Now, this if you're doing the really big tires like the 420s and the 40 series and all that, you're gonna have to be very careful on how much you spin it. You basically don't even really want to spin it. You basically just want to you basically just want to take maybe enough force to make it rotate 1 or 2 times, and then just start, get it to the point where it's just rocking back and forth, instead of actually just sitting there spinning for 5 minutes or whatever. Because what'll end up happening is, because there's so little room, one part of the rod will walk. The rod kind of has a tendency to walk, because it's this. Unfortunately, this part right here is on a slight angle. But if you do it to where it doesn't really spin much and it just kind of rocks back and forth, which is actually all you need for balancing your tires. You don't need the thing to actually make a full rotation. This one right here, as you can see, fits quite well. Now the 420s are a little bit snugger fit, but these, but either one of them, the 420s or the 40 series will fit, and then of course anything in between will fit also. Now, if I am doing smaller tires, I actually drilled a whole series of holes over here that are the same exact distance apart. Now, I know I didn't get these lined up very well. One set of holes is kind of offset from the other set of holes, but at least down here. But like these ones here in the middle are pretty good. So if I'm doing smaller tires, I'll probably, sometimes I'll pop them in here or whatever. But most of the time I just use these 4, because these 4 were, dead on. I did those first and realized that I didn't really plan well enough ahead, because the theory, the idea was to be able to adjust it to make whatever, width I needed or whatever, and anything in between. But most of the time I just set it up right here in these 4 holes, and go over the whole thing. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where I said you don't really have to spin it. All you got to do is just take it and just nudge it a little bit so it starts rocking back and forth, and the heavy side will settle on its own. So in order to secure these, I don't, instead of using the bolts that it came with, I actually went to the hardware store and bought 4 wing nuts that fit the bottom of these posts, and the wing nuts I can screw on from underneath. So it's very easy to set it up, and it's very easy to take it back down. But that right there, my friends, is probably, it's the only solution that I'm aware of that actually lets you balance virtually any size tires that are out there. Maybe not 5th scale. I'm not in the 5th scale, so I'm not sure exactly how big those tires get. But it might not do 5th scales, but it'll do any size tire from 8th scale on down, and for every class. I'm trying to think if I've forgotten anything. The Dubro prop balancer, I want to say, is somewhere around $35 to $40, I believe. Which is about the price of any other good balancer, whether it's a prop balancer or a tire balancer or whatever. Like I said, I think that Dynamite one cost me right around $40 with shipping, plus shipping. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I know for a while I was very frustrated that I couldn't find a way, and I can't fathom for the life of me why You know, these companies that have the various balancers, like you know, Lowe's and I believe Associated's got one, Huddy's got one. There's a bunch of companies that have them, but I know, like the Dynamite one, you know, only you could only you. It came with a 17 millimeter hex, and there was a 12 millimeter adapter that you could buy to do 12 millimeter wheels, but you couldn't do any other size. To me, that's retarded. It's like if somebody, you know, granted, okay, yeah, most of the tires that you want to balance are going to be like, you know, on your buggies, um, you know, maybe your truggies, you know, your actual short course trucks, your actual race vehicles, which are going to have a smaller tire, and typically are going to have either a 12 or a 17 millimeter hex. But just because you don't race monster trucks or, you know, whatever other tire you may have, doesn't mean that you can't benefit by balancing them. So, um, anyway, so that was my solution, and I hope that helps somebody. Um, that pretty much wraps it up for this video. So if you, you know, if you like my videos, if you like this video, you know, feel free to check out my other ones. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Feel free to pass them around, share them. You know, you know, I mean, I'm doing this so hopefully somebody down the line can use the information too. And so anyway, please subscribe, share, all that good stuff. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, anything of the sort, you can get a hold of me one of two ways. You can either get a hold of me on my Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/Grey Studios 74. And I've got a lot of pictures on there that you can look at. You know, we have some RC discussion on there. And then, or if you'd rather email me, you can email me at greywolfstudios74@gmail.com. You can do that as well. And if you happen to stop by my Facebook page, feel free to you know, click the like button. You know, if you like my pictures, you like what you see, you want to be kept updated on you know, my newest videos coming out, that kind of thing, you'll get the notifications on Facebook. Plus you know, whenever I put new pics up, things like that. Anyway, with that, I'm out of here. Peace, guys.